Hello and welcome to the application 2 walkthrough. I want to give you an idea of what I'm looking for in these problems because it is part of the graded aspect of this class. So it's an important idea to understand, again, what we're looking at and how we should approach it. First thing we're looking at on the first two problems, we are looking for perimeter, and looking for perimeter, we know that we just want to add up all the sides. So in this case, I know it's kind of hard to read, and it's definitely not how I would traditionally write each one of these. These are all decimals, and so personally I really dislike having the decimal as the first thing. If it's 0 point something, put the dang 0 there, and it looks a lot better. So in this case, we're just going to add up all the sides, and I gave you all the sides, so it shouldn't be too bad. The second one, we have some mixed numbers, and so you can kind of, try to figure out a way that you might add up those whole number parts and fractions, fractional parts of these side lengths, or you can convert them all into improper fractions and add them up that way. The nice thing for this problem, I will say, is that the denominators are all the same. So that makes life pretty easy. Well, maybe not the easiest, but it makes it more doable, I should say. But I'm going to leave that to you, and if you have questions, you can ask me in class. The next ones are just some kind of trickier problems when it comes to multiplying and dividing. The one thing I will say for number 4 is remember that this 4 is actually a 4 over 1. Okay, and my main thing to look at is what happens when I multiply these two together. Okay, what do I get there? Then if I take this 4 over 1, and what do I get when 4 over 1, what do I get when I multiply those two things together? Okay, and then, so I get something here. I don't know what it is. Again, I get something here. I don't know what it is. And then when I divide that by 1/2, what do I get? And that'll be my final answer. So just go one step at a time. Forget about the rest of it. You can sure copy the rest of it down if you want to. For instance, I know when I go 1/2 times 1/4, I'm actually getting 1/8. So my number's actually becoming smaller. And then I'm more than welcome to write down the rest of it. But notice I just focused on this first part. And that's kind of my advice on any multi-step problems. Focus on what you can do, one thing at a time, and then slowly start, tacking ideas onto that and progress from there. But if you get some crazy answer here, go back through, check again, make sure everything looks okay, because I don't think it should be that bad of a problem. For the next ones, we're finding area, and these are all triangles, so it may be helpful to know the area formula for a triangle. It's going to be 1/2 base times height. And again, the base and height that we talked about last time, you want your base and your height to be perpendicular to each other. So if you don't have that, you can't use it. Thankfully, all the numbers that we give you here are kind of set up for that. And, so I look at pretty traditional looks at base and height. I can actually consider, I think, all of my horizontal sides here to be my bases. And then the other thing that I really want to make sure that we're aware of in this section and in all other sections is just this idea. If the problem gives decimals or fractions, answer in decimals or fractions. Okay, and that being, kind of a double statement there. If it gives decimals, answer in decimals. If it gives fractions, answer in fractions. Okay, I don't want, I don't want the problem to give you like this one over here has these mixed numbers or fractions. Now I do have a little bit of lenience on if it gives mixed numbers, you can go and give me improper fractions. But if it gives me decimals, I can answer in decimals. If it gives me fractions, I need to answer in fractions. I don't want to see the answer to number 6 in decimals. I don't want it. Okay, that's not good. That's not good work as far as getting scored for this goes. So pay attention to what you're doing. Something like this first problem, we can look at this. And it may be worthwhile since it gives me decimals. If it's easier, you can think of this 1/2 as 0.5 because that's the same as 1/2. So I can have 0.5. And notice on this problem, there's a distractor number here. This 10 is actually a distractor. Okay, I don't use it. I'm using these two, the blue and the red sides. Okay, so 0.5 times 8.8 times 6.3. And that would give you the area of this triangle. Okay, I think that's enough. That should give you a good head start on how to do these. Other than that, have a good day, and we'll see you in class.